talking about earlier, having that studio space where you know that every day you're going to wake up, you're going to go over there, you're going to sit down, or you're going to stand up, and you're going to do the work that you're going to do, and you're going to be producing a project. And I think that helps also with that art journal, right? To kind of keep track of what is it that you've done, what is it that you want to do, what is it that you want to avoid, kind of mistakes you want to avoid, or the projects that you want to keep working on, can help you along with that, right? And I think this having a sense of community and really looking for areas and chances to like expose your art, right, is like a really good way to do that. How's it going, everybody? My name is Richard, also known as PencilKarate, and I will be your host for today. Definitely quite an interesting day. I don't even know. I don't even know how to segue into anything else. Today, I'm just gonna be doing the needful. I'm gonna be doing art. It's normally I do. How to set a really interesting like ideas. Earlier today, I was like, oh, maybe I should have like a topic, a conversation, something I can talk about. You know, to kind of get everything kind of going, like, you know, talk to you guys about what's been going on with me, and at the same time talk about like some of the, how do you say, challenges that someone in my particular situation faces when it comes to making a transition from art to as a hobby to art as a career. So yeah, I was kind of looking for some stuff. Let's see if I can go ahead and find it. Oh, there we go. I guess this is serendipitous. I didn't find any of this earlier, honestly. So I was looking for, you know, just some general advice, because I was just feeling a tad bit lost throughout this whole thing, thinking like, you know, what am I doing? Am I going fast enough? Am I not? Sometimes when I go really hard and really fast, I get like burnt out. I'm not used to that level of like work and stress quite yet. It's really interesting to use like your creativity in ways that you're like trying to complete something that's up to your standards, but I guess like all that sort of changes, right? So one thing that I wanted to make sure is that like whatever I was doing, it was kind of living up to my own set of standards, right? If you're not happy with like, right, or don't feel challenged, I suppose, with things in life, I guess raising your standards really changes things for yourself. Like raising the standard of like, for example, you're at a job, let's say it's a starter job, right? You're working at a burger shop and you want to move from the cash register over to like head cook, right? You change your standards as far as like, you know what? I don't want to just do this. I want to have more responsibility and I want to flip the burger, right? Maybe that's what you want to do. So, you know, you change your standards, and then that's how you adjust to that. And, you know, you do things that kind of push you forward to get you closer to those things. So, that's one way of kind of like raising your standards. So, but it's kind of hard in this case, because for me, one of the things that I've been facing is like I can have a lot of ideas, and this is my particular situation. I can have a lot of ideas. How do I get from point A to point B? How do I go there? And like it just feels like it's all taking it's slower than it should be. But again, I don't have really a point of reference. So, you know, maybe let's read some of these. Let's see how these go. These have not been curated beforehand, so I'm just sort of kind of like winging it, right? So, 5 ways to jumpstart your art career. So, our career cannot happen overnight. Becoming an artist takes dedication, hard work, and a plan. So, definitely agree with the hard work and a plan. Especially, you know, you can work hard all the time, but if you really don't have a plan, and the plan would be like a direction, right, of where you're going. Like, things can kind of fall apart or just go somewhere else entirely different, right? So unfortunately, many people would like to start in our career, have no idea how to proceed. Learning how to develop your skills attracts clients and turn a healthy profit can make your a career out of an art. Art jobs can span a wide range, from painting to illustrations to graphic design. Still, in many ways, all art careers require the same amount of hard work, planning, and networking. So I think this is another thing that's really important, and I think it's something that, for me, it's been happening bit by bit, right? The networking portion of it. And for those of you that might not know what networking is, it's nothing really fancy. It's just basically saying that you know people. People that are related to areas of interest. If you are interested in, feeding families that are, don't have much money to eat, right? Underprivileged families, you can go to certain places to meet people that already do this and then become familiar with them, and then they can either expose you or tell you where you can go to help out in these cases, right? So that's a way of a form of networking, right? It's just like the simplest thing. You know somebody that knows how to either go to or get whatever that you're trying to get at, or a person that's also related to the type of environment that you're in. So it's not something that's not super like complicated, right? It's a really simple concept. So develop your skills. Before you can begin a successful career in art, you must first develop a solid artistic skills. It's highly likely you're already a creative person with an appreciation for line, form, color, and texture. Your passion for art is only a starting point. Skill development requires hard work and commitment. If you haven't spent the last several years honing your skills, take the time to master the medium of your choice. You may have natural talent, but without hard work, your raw skills may not take you very far. Many artists are self-taught or learn through a hodgepodge of classes and workshops from local schools and organizations. There's no one way to find out how to do art. So this is a really great point. Just imagine, let's think about a sport. Someone's actually pretty decent at basketball. No one really plays or anything like that. They beat everyone in the neighborhood, because their neighbor Timmy has a hoop and they play all the time, and they're really, they play a lot and he's pretty good, and you're like, oh my god, hey man, you make these crazy shots and all that, and they're like, okay, hey, you should be part of a basketball team. And Tommy goes over and starts a basketball team, and this basketball team tries out and either can make it or not make it, right? Because they just have like the raw talent, but maybe not the honed skills, right? Maybe they need to work on their dribbling, maybe they need to actually work on their teamwork and so on. So that's kind of like the concept, right? A little bit of hard work with focus can really take you a long way. So take a few courses. You aren't required to spend 4 years immersed in an art college to develop your skills or become successful. However, enrolling in traditional classes or workshops in the medium of your choice is an important way to learn some of the technical aspects of art creation. All right, potters, for example, must know more than how to create elegant forms from clay. To be a potter, you'll need to learn how to spin on the wheel, as well as build posts by hand. Well, that's really interesting. Well, you'll need to know the difference between the different types of clay, the various types of clay are fired, how to glaze, what it means to score the clay, and so on. A few courses will teach you the basics. Once you have foundation of information, you can build your knowledge from there. And this is really true, especially, I've seen it in myself. Whenever I kind of dedicate some time to learn some stuff, either about perspective or about painting and so on, knowing those basics of how to build the piece that I'm working on really just kind of helps it take it that much further, right? So practice on your own. You'll get more out of your experience in class or school if you practice on your own. Block out time every day to work on your skills that you've been taught in class. If possible, spend some time developing core competencies that aren't directly related to your medium of choice. For example, you may be a graphic designer in training. As such, you may spend hours at a time in front of a computer screen, learn various programs and techniques. Mediums like paint are unrelated to your trade. However, spending time painting will teach you about mixing color, making textures, and so on. The skills you learn painting apply to all forms of art and will inform your work as a graphic designer. Practicing in a variety of mediums like paint will help you grow as an artist and craftsman. And that is, actually, that's very true. I bought an acrylic set years ago, and I was like, I'm gonna paint acrylic. Like, screw it, let's do this. And it didn't stick with me, but it taught me a lot about mixing colors, about like what different colors kind of do, and then it just kind of started expanding my mind. And then now when I look at things when I'm coloring, I'm able to like identify what kind of colors something have, and that really helps when you're painting something that's, excuse me, daytime or nighttime, right? Or like you can look at someone's like skin and identify as like, well, it's not just beige, there are like other colors in there, right, that are not as apparent or not as obvious, and they work very well together. So I think this is a really great piece of advice there. Kind of like, make sure you practice. Go to museums, galleries, and shows. Now this is a little bit harder nowadays, but I was going to I do have like a membership to the museum, so that's something I love to go back to. I've been talking about it for a couple of weeks. I'm going to see if I can make it happen. Exposure to art will inform your work and make you a better artist. Visiting museums, galleries, and art shows will open your eyes to the types of art in the world, as well as the different ideas and theories that drive the various forms of art. Studying the art from the past will give you ideas that will help you formulate more mature style. And that is actually a really good point of view. Being exposed to different types of art can definitely like inspire you and affect you in ways that you probably wouldn't have discovered by yourself. And I think that's the wonderful part about like sharing, right? Sharing ideas, sharing art, sharing music, sharing all these different things makes you a more well-rounded person, because you experience things that are outside of yourself, right? Or maybe even discover things that are inside of you, but you would have been way harder for you to get there by just doing that stuff yourself, right? So if subjects like modern art and art history are not covered in the classes and workshops you're currently taking, conduct an independent study of art history and topics related to your craft. When viewing a new piece of art, force yourself to think critically about the artist's motivations and techniques. If you like a piece of art, ask yourself why. In what ways is this piece successful? What could the artist do to be more successful? Knowing the answers to these questions can help you improve your art. And to me, I don't know, I feel like a lot of times I can see a lot of art that I like and I love, and I can identify why I love it, but I don't always it doesn't always resonate with me in a way that I'm just like, I want to do that. Like I want to incorporate that in my own style. It doesn't usually happen. But maybe I'm just not really looking where I should, right? It's not as expanded. So you went to a gallery in Paris a month or so ago with your parents. It was a hands-on, the worst exhibition I've ever been to. Oh no. Now I know I want to stay clear from that style. Oh my god, that's so bad. What was so bad about it? Hey, Orc Dork, how's it going, man? How's it going? Lots of rats and broken mannequins? Oh, okay. That's weird. Also hot. Yeah, what's up, man? That's really interesting. Yeah. I mean, a lot of things can be interpreted as art, and there are, you know, I don't know if the fine arts is one way of like describing it, but there's definitely like fine arts, and then there's stuff that's like a bunch of gum stuck in a wall with like the word like horror written on it, and it's just like, yeah, that's a form of expression, you know. I think I'm pretty sure it's a controversial like thought, but there is there are some camps that think like, you know, things can be art. Like just about anything can be art. It's just a matter of is it good art or is it bad art, and that's really subjective. But I guess the point that they're trying to make is like, you know, is there a refined technique behind it and not just like, I don't know, I guess the difference between a child drawing a sick person and an old person drawing a sick person, right? Or, you know, you see the Mona Lisa, or you just put it into context, right? When somebody did what, when, and how, right? So LSD in that situation, dude, you're saying all these mannequins. I don't think LSD would have helped. I think LSD would have given you a really bad trip. You would have just been like not having a good time. So it was dark and depressing, and I tried to shed light on the lower class communities in South Africa. Oh. Well, I guess if that's what they left, the impression they left with, I mean, cool. That's sort of the thing too, man. Like, you could have, you know, you feel the way that you do about it, and you know this, right? You're a very intelligent person. Like, maybe it just speaks to somebody else, right? In some weird way, and it just compels them in some, you know, just makes them think like, or makes them feel like whatever they thought those people were feeling, or if they are from there, what they felt like. I don't know. I wasn't there, so I wish I'd have more like of an opinion, but like, it's just art is very subjective. If it's not your flavor or style, then yeah, now I know. It's like, steer clear of it. So seek constructive criticism. Accepting constructive criticism is one of the things that many beginning artists struggle with the most. But constructive criticism is critical for learning and growing. Many artists naturally become very attached to their art. Criticism can be a bitter pill to swallow. Very true. I still have issues with taking like feedback, just because I'm constantly trying to work on different things. But I've been thinking about the reason that I ended up on this actually was a search that I was doing earlier today, and at one point it was talking about residencies and apprenticeships, and I think it's about time that if I want to learn something from somebody, then I should probably see if I can, you know, get their feedback regularly, to see if I can kind of work on some stuff, right? And it's definitely, I think it's worth, you know, having a go at trying something like that if I'm serious about art. And for anybody really who's serious about art, I know that a lot of us want to think that we can do things like self-made, and we try to figure out things by ourselves, right? Not really get a handout all the time, but I think it's worth like trying it, right? Because it's just like you're trying to find ways to expand yourself, right, and grow it. So well said, Rich. It is what it is. Not my cup of tea. No, it doesn't sound like it, and it's totally fine too. Again, subjective. So maybe the artist was reputable and experimenting, perhaps. Perhaps they also like the theme, right? Maybe the museum liked the theme. Maybe the museum was looking for something like that, something different, right? You can only like show off certain things before you actually get really bored of it, you know. And like you did mention, it was Paris, so you know, it's I would assume that bigger cities that have museums would also have areas that just kind of step out of the norm, right? Expose people to different things, right? Show off different things that if you showed off anywhere else, it might not do as well, right? It might not go as far because people think like, you know, I'm not gonna pay for that. I'm gonna pay for the fine arts, baby. I want to see, you know, the 22-foot long pieces of art, you know, that was done in the 16th century in Italy. You know, that's what I want to pay for, you know. So, but things change over time. So, all right. So I think I read all of this. Make a studio space. Well, this is what I technically did here. So studio space is critical. To make your living as an artist, you'll need space for working on multiple pieces at once. You also need space for storing old pieces and organizing your materials. Even a graphic designer who may have little need for traditional art studio will still need a space to do work free from distractions. So keep it private. Privacy is essential for maintaining productivity and focus. In a studio without privacy, you may find it difficult to keep your mind on the task at hand. This can stand in the way of making breakthroughs that lead to better ideas and personal growth as an artist. Now, here's the thing that's like really crazy. I work here in front of a computer. The computer is basically a gateway to the world. So you got to be kind of disciplined to not get distracted every 15 to 30 minutes with like messages that come through, looking for different videos to put over it on YouTube, or songs on Spotify, or whatever it is that you like, and getting distracted by things on the side. I think that really having that sacred space for yourself to like focus on those things that you care about is really important, right? Like, in a way, me doing the stream is me dedicating time to my art, just making sure that I always do that on a regular basis. So your Parisian uncle bought an abandoned office and converted it into dozens of studio spaces. That's really awesome. So he's renting it out out for aspiring artists. Okay, that's awesome too. He then has them showcase their artwork at the ground floor. His dream has come true. He's a traditional artist. That's sweet, man. That's really sweet to be able to do something like that. And I think that's something that I've noticed, that like cultures that value and care about art and history and so on are communities or societies that actually do very well, right? I've been to a couple different countries, like smaller countries, and I've seen that sometimes when they don't care about art and they don't care about all those things I just mentioned, their focus is elsewhere, right? And it's sort of like sad that like you might have somebody that's really great, right? But you might have a really brilliant artist and they have nothing to survive with, right? Because they're stuck in a place where they can't make anything of it. So if you live in a house, you may be able to find a private space in your garage or outdoor shed. Have neither of those. If you don't have a private room or outdoor space where you can spend time, or if you live in a small apartment without any private space, renting a studio space may be a better idea. If you do not live in an urban area where studio spaces are available for rent, then you may be able to rent studio space from local businesses or a friend with an extra room. Get creative. You're going to need as much room as you can. And I think that's really cool, where you can just have your routine of like, I'm gonna go to this place and I'm gonna get work done. Having a space that's strictly for the creative, right? Where you can express yourself and have that. And you know what? At least in my case, I'm making the most out of it. I only live in a 1-bedroom condo. I'm making the most out of it, right? I have a place that I have enough like privacy where I can just kind of put my headphones on, focus on whatever I have to do, and then, you know, get it done, right? So make sure that that's one thing that's really important, right? Privacy. It's really important to be able to create things privately, because when you're in private, you can just kind of like experiment and not feel judged, not feel like you have any inhibitions to hold you back from actually just like letting it out there, right? Especially if you're trying to create art that's just like, you know, different, you know, something that's like personal. I've definitely created personal pieces over the years that it's not like I would just go out and show anybody, right? They hold a special significance, and it would have been very hard for me to do that if I didn't have that space, right? You know, even here being in front of my computer, it's very hard for me to feel like I can just go ahead and like draw whatever I want, right? Because it's not my notebook. There's something intimate about that, right? Having your own space. So if you don't have it and you've been thirsting for it, you think that you need some space, maybe it's time you go ahead and you do that, right? So consider indoor air quality. All right, this is really interesting. Let's see where they're going with this. So many mediums create fumes, dust, and chemicals that can be harmful to human health. Oil painting, woodworking, and metalworking or welding are all examples of art mediums that require sufficient ventilation to keep the artist safe. And in my case, I don't really have to focus on that. Fucking fan turned on. I don't really have to focus on that because it's on the computer. I don't think my computer's giving off any fumes. I just gotta make sure that I'm dusting in the house. So I don't sneeze. I am sneezing all the time, so I probably should work on that. So work with as much light as possible. If you can't tell by the glare on my glasses, there's like freaking lights all around me. I try to keep my eyes very well lit. You may need multiple bright lights or lamps to have enough light to work. All right, so even if you're a graphic designer, keep a desk light on hand for sketching ideas or making a list by hand. If your studio space is lit primarily by natural light, remove any curtains that would prevent light from passing down. Okay, so this is like, it's more like an instructional at this point instead of just like career tips, right? Collect materials once you have sufficient space. Okay, so this is like a, yeah, literally like a how-to. And then storing your old work safely. All right, so this is really important because our computers sometimes run out of space and we never have backups. So find a place, at least online, that's a good place for you to keep it there, that you have access to it, and then you can download it later on in life. It's the best that I can say. This is going to be more on the traditional route, so it's just going to have you just like, hey, you know, put it somewhere, cover it up. Like, don't let direct sunlight, don't let too much humidity, don't let too much dryness, like all that. So, or finding your artistic voice. Once you develop your technical skills, it's time to hone your creative voice. The original voice is not a voice at all, but rather your style and technique. Your artistic style will reveal itself over time as you discover your true talent and passion. The road to finding your creative voice will probably be a circular one and will come after years of hard work, practice, and study. Self-discovery and interaction with great artists are both keys to finding your voice. And I feel like I'm there myself. Looking at what I did the last time, right? I finished Doobie's art trade was different than most of the other pieces you guys have seen me draw. The other piece that I was drawing that was like the naked dude was also totally different. And it's sort of that, like there's, oh, even before that I drew Carl, the skating pigeon, right? It's just sort of like there's so many different facets to myself that it's kind of hard for me to pin it down at one thing, right? And that's the one of the things that scares me the most about being online and working and posting stuff on. It's like I don't want to post things that are so different that everybody, you know, like somebody goes in for one thing and then there's a bunch of other stuff. And I think that's a bit of a limiting thought. I think that's really algorithm driven. If you think about it, it's also very straightforward. Like it doesn't give me a lot of freedom as an artist. In a lot of ways, that's like anti-expression. Honestly, anti-free expression. If you really like think about it, if you're just like, I'm just only gonna draw like cars and that's my thing, and I'm not gonna draw like, maybe you love drawing babies, right? But those two things don't seem to be related somehow. Or you're drawing babies and cars, right? But if that's your shit, then you do it, right? If you like having a completely like traditional realistic style, and then you want to have a cartoon style, right? Like people are going to look at it and be like, you know, oh, you know, you should decide, do you do one or the other? I'm sure other people that are way more qualified than I am can speak about this subject. But all I'm going to say is that in this case, you should follow your inclinations, right? Because at the end of the day, if you love what you're doing, it's really going to show up in the work. And I think that's the quality that people can look at and really enjoy it for themselves, right? So yeah, why do one or the other? Try many styles. And I think that's what this is really saying, right? Like finding your voice is like, it's like you growing up. Or, you know, you being an artist is you growing up. It's you maturing. It's you changing as a person, growing. And we think that maturing and growing means one thing and it ends up all in the same place. But hopefully the way that you see maturing and growing is that you're constantly unlocking yourself and ridding yourself of things that aren't you, right? So, and you're just always moving towards who you really are, right? And you're like free to be who you are and always been, right? And you found the best way to express yourself without any filters, right? To say what you mean as clearly as possible, right? And being true to yourself. So this is something that I feel like, you know, definitely been happening. You know, but it's, again, no one's told me this. No one's told me like, hey, you should calm down. Hey, you should not do this. Hey, you should not do that. It's just, you know, the kind of like the voice in your head that tells you like, this is the way things should be. And sometimes you shouldn't really listen to that. Like, I don't know where that voice came from, right? Maybe it's something that's another piece of advice that you're kind of mixing in with this. They gave you advice on, you know, how to maybe do a career, right? Don't move around a ton. But, you know, and then I'm thinking art, I shouldn't move around a lot. Maybe not, maybe so. I don't know. So, let's see, explore new ideas, subject matters, and methods. The world of art is an expansive one. Art is a vehicle that is used to explore ideas, teach history, express political views, and so on. In the search for your artistic voice, you may need to explore a variety of subject matters with your art. Allow art projects to take different directions and explore different themes as they pop into your head. Never sequester yourself from the outside world, but learn from it and allow outside influences to show up in your paintings, sculptures, drawings, and so on. Keep a journal. And this, basically the last thing is like what we're kind of talking about, right? So keep a journal. Keep an art journal detailing your new projects, your past works, and your successes and failures. Keeping an art journal allows you to learn from your experience, explore your emotional connection to your artwork, and make new discoveries about yourself and others. In your journal, record ideas, evaluate your work, discuss your method, ask open-ended questions, then search for answers. Okay. This exploratory process will help you make connections with the lead to more ideas and greater understanding of yourself as an artist. And that's a really like interesting thing. I never really thought about that. Keeping like a journal about like all those things. I don't even necessarily know how I would get that going because I have a regular journal, but not like an art journal. So that would be really interesting to kind of see how to kind of do, right? So learn to talk about art. The ability to talk about art is the mark of a true artist. It's enough to make art. You must also understand art and make your art understood by others. To do this, you must be able to talk about art. Expressing yourself through words can help others understand the method that drives your work. As you climb the ranks of the world and sell your work or your services to others, you'll be expected to talk about your product and process. Talking about art can also help you interact with future clients, which can contribute to making you a better business person. Talking about your art is difficult for many artists and comes only from practice. Keeping your art journal is one way to learn the vocabulary and the lingo. Attending art events, talking to peers, taking classes, and engaging in art community where you live help develop these skills as well. And this is really interesting. It's sort of like the concept of like educating people like about you. Like I was talking like 2 weeks ago about contracts right? And if a customer ever feels like uncomfortable and they're trying to check in on your project all the time, and they're trying to like give you every order, every detail, at line after line after line, then that means that that customer is either one of two things: either they're very controlling, or they don't really trust that your process. And the reason they might not trust your process is because you might have not explained it in great detail. You didn't educate your customer enough for them to feel comfortable with, like, okay, you have control over this, right? You should do X or Y, right? And I think this is an extension of that, right? Where you just kind of like, I'm going to show you my art, and then you know, educate people on what is it that you were going through if they have questions, right? So they can understand you better as an artist, right? It's sort of like drawing a piece is sort of like writing a chapter in a book, right? People can really look at it and really tell a lot of different things about you, and I think that's really interesting. So you failed your art class back when you were 17 years old. I couldn't follow the curriculum. And so what was the curriculum? It was all about build-up? So I'm not really too familiar with art classes. I haven't taken, the only art classes I ever took were like appreciation, stuff like that. I tried getting to art school, but my grades were so bad that I couldn't even get in for general reasons. So, but I'd like to learn more about that, if you don't mind sharing with us what the build-up was really all about. So, okay, make friends with artists. And this is the whole thing that I was talking about earlier, right? Networking and so on. And in this case, you know what? It's like our little community on Discord, right? You make little friends, you share your art, and you just kind of talk about it. So, having friends in the world, the art world, will influence your work in ways you can't even imagine. Having art friends will help you mature in style, but will also broaden your horizons. You will learn from your art friends just as they learn from you. Be open to their criticisms, ideas, and interpretations. If an opportunity arises, enter into collaborative projects with other artists. You'd be surprised at the ways that the interactions with others can have an influence on your progress. Your friends may also tip you off to art events happening in your area, which will give you opportunities to grow personally as well as professionally. So, I think that's really good, super important, and sometimes you just got to put yourself out there. It can be really uncomfortable. I'd say, you know, try to do it as smart as you need to, right? So you don't, make sure you put yourself in the spot where you just get rejected and you don't feel great. But yeah, sometimes you're just gonna have to put yourself out there. Enter art competitions. Wow, this is something I never really thought about. Local art competitions draw a crowd of buyers, art lovers, artists, and judges. Entering art competitions an easy way to show off your art while you collect helpful criticisms and meet other artists. The trick to entering local art competition is to find those feature work similar to your own. Some art shows will focus in art and craft style of art, while other art shows can concentrate on modern art, traditional art forms, photography, or even digital art. Entering the competition will help ensure that your art gets exposure that you desire. Actually, this is really interesting, and I would be more than happy to look at that, see how that kind of goes. So, all right, so they require you to show your work, so you need to explain why you included an element in your final piece. I preferred abstract stuff, so a lot of it came to simply drawing in the moment. Apparently, that was a recipe for failure. It's kind of weird, okay, but it's sort of interesting to see how like obsessed people, like teachers, are with like process, right? Show me your process. How did you get here? How did you get there? And I wonder why is it that they really just kind of focus on that, right? So what's up, Indie Man? How's it going, man? And now I get it. You get it now. This isn't a far-fetched idea. I did a DT. DTs for Instagram. You didn't win, but it was fun. What do you mean DT? Let's see. What is this? What is this word? What does that mean? Oh, draw this in your style. Oh, okay. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of that stuff. Draw this in your style. I've seen a lot. What's up with all these girls that are here? It's like a weird fetish that Instagram has, doesn't it? Oh, this is all Pinterest. Draw this in your style. Look at that. I mean, hashtags are a great way to get recognition, right? For people to easily and quickly find your work if they're following the hashtag, right? So that was my avatar guy. That was your avatar guy. I'm trying to think. I'm trying to remember it, but I can't remember it right now. So, damn, this one's a pretty long one. But I think we're still on time, so we're good. Okay. So, we're still on number 4. Make yourself known. Sell your work at craft shows. This is actually pretty in-depth. I gotta say, this is probably one of the better ones that I made. Sell your work at craft shows. Craft shows, local fairs, farmers markets, and other venues for selling artisanal goods are at all places where you can meet local buyers, tourists, people ready to spend money. These events charge a fee for anyone who sits up a table, and fees often pay for themselves in sales made at the show and in the exposure to the public. When participating in a craft show, bring examples of your best work, put up a sign on the table that clearly identifies who you are, what you make, your contact information, and other specifics. Make the table presentable when interacting with people from public. Smile. Be a salesman. This term right here is controversial, I think. Your interactions with the public will do as much as you sell your products and as the quality of the goods themselves. So, make business cards and postcards. That's interesting. Business cards and postcards make excellent tokens to leave with your client, gallery owners, and other contracts that make it in the industry. Whether you choose to make a business card, postcard, or both, it is important to maintain a standard of quality. Edit your cards for grammatical errors in content. Make them visually appealing and in full color. If possible, print a picture of one of your best works on the card. Check the cards for accurate contact information and readability. Avoid using small fonts or hard to read typefaces. Keep the cards visually clean, straightforward, and elegant. Keep your cards in good condition and replace them if they become scuffed or stained. Do not give out cards that are dirty or unattractive in any way. Reread your business cards and postcards regularly to ensure that the information is still accurate. Include your website, email, address, phone number, and a simple description of what you do. So this is these people, they're really giving you the rundown. Like, what is it that you need to do really to like get an art career? So check out your post in Discord. Okay, perfect. Yeah, I was gonna work on your stuff tonight, by the way. So definitely, let's go ahead and let's take a peek right now. I think this is a really good time. Oh shit, mixed media. What's it? Mixed media for art class. This is the photo that you were working on. Nice job. So what is it that you did on the background? What is the white and the red? It's really interesting. So I didn't know the bug was like a giant monster. Really cool stuff. Really cool stuff. And mixed media, man. Not bad. A print? Okay. Okay. You drew that and printed it out on there. Well, nice job. I really like the red. It looks really cool. It's really like visually striking. So nice job on that. Take your work to galleries. Get used to going to local galleries. Introduce yourself. Plug in your art. When you go to galleries, bring your portfolio and the postcards. And oh my god, just bring everything. And distribute the cards generously. Dress well. Look respectable. I feel like this is like the most like business side, right? Like advice that I've ever seen out here. So you carved a stamp, inked, and then stamped. Okay, yeah, cool. Okay, think of a visit as a gallery as an interview. Come prepared to talk about your work, answer questions, give information about your work ethic, style, technique, and so on. Do research about each gallery that you plan to visit so you can be sure that the galleries you visit show the kind of art that you typically make. When you approach the gallery owners and curators, be humble, earnest, and sincere. So sign up for a local art league. Is this such a thing? Oh my god. Local art leagues help artists form communities. Depending on the size of your town or city, there may be several different art groups in your area. Picking the right art group for you will help you make friends and meet people from the area before committing yourself to a single group. Learn about it. Inquire about the level of activity and participation that you can expect from each group. Find out what kind of events each group hosts or participates in, what kind of work the members produce. This will help you find the group that makes you comfortable once you found the right group for your needs. Participate regularly. Volunteer to work at events, engage in activities, and become an active member. Joining a group without participation defeats the purpose and may give other artists in your community the wrong impression. So, one of your friends keeps trying to get you to go to a live gesture draw. Dude, what? Is it? I wanted to go to one last year. You never been to one? I think you probably enjoyed that. You called it that Lost in the City. Nice. I like the theme of it. Really good. To develop a network, here it is again. It's all about like networking and all that. And now that I'm thinking about it and reading all this, like we're not that far from really having a circle of artists that can all produce something together and then have a sort of exhibition. If everybody in the Discord that was an artist really wanted to create a couple different pieces and then put it on somewhere and have it featured, or I don't even know how you would do that digitally, but like that would be like a really cool idea, right? To kind of get everybody get like different styles and so on, and then show that off. And it's not really that much different than what we do there. It's just people in person and then them kind of like pulling money together so they can just kind of like get that and expose it, right? So develop a network. Art is often a solitary activity. Whoa, you're telling me. So networking does not come natural to many artists. However, networking helps artists make contacts that can lead to sales, gigs, and local exposure. Get active on social media. Start blogging and update it regularly. Discuss topics like local art related news, art shows, on your personal experiences with art. So, if someone leaves a message or comment on your blog, respond to your readers. If you sign up with social media site, fill out your profiles completely. Assume that the people that see your online profile will be potential clients. Cultivate a list of potential customers and industry contracts, and stay in touch with those contacts. Send mailings or email blasts to your contacts and keep them up to date with your activities, notifying your mailing list when you have a show, when you release new set of work, and when you're launching a new line of products, and so on. Nowadays, I mean, you could still send email blasts, but I'm pretty sure that all the people are following you like on Twitter or something like that. It's just as effective, I would say. So, also I need a lot more time on my side. I honestly suck at mohawks, and the guy was giving me. I'm so sorry about that. I'm sorry that I gave you like something really challenging. Trust me, the last drawing that I was working on, I don't know if you ever saw it, but it was really kicking my ass. It was becoming really hard. So, do your thing. Just try the best you can. Don't worry if it's not perfect. The whole point is to like try to have fun with it, right? I hope it's giving you enough of a challenge, but that it's not making it just like unfun, right? So, learn to run a business. Artists must learn to be good as stewards of their own business, good bosses to themselves, and good workers for local clients. This is one of the most challenging aspects of being an artist because business ownership often runs counter to the mindset of the typical artist. Good organization and communication are required for meeting the needs of your clients. Also, artists must learn to keep themselves motivated and productive. Even when no one is around to push them to work harder, artists must learn to motivate themselves. And that is very true. I feel like business people really get like a bad rep as being like not necessarily like good people, but you know, there are all sorts of businesses, right? Small and big and differing, like, I guess, moral standards, right? So that part about you being your own boss and you staying motivated and moving forward, I think it kind of helps when you just cut out that time, right? What we're talking about earlier, having that studio space where you know that every day you're going to wake up, you're going to go over there, you're going to sit down or you're going to stand up and you're going to do the work that you're going to do, and you're going to be producing a project. And I think that helps also with that art journal, right? To kind of keep track of what is it that you've done, what is it that you want to do, what is it that you want to avoid, kind of mistakes you want to avoid, or the projects that you want to keep working on, can help you along with that, right? And I think having a sense of community and really looking for areas and chances to like expose your art, right, is like a good way to do that. I think the hardest and weirdest part for me is honestly when somebody starts talking like money with like my art, right? When my art becomes business, it's weird and like still a little bit uncomfortable, because people just kind of treat it differently, right? You're just automatically then in a different type of like situation with them, right? When they're just talking like, oh, okay, well, you know, it's $200, I don't want it to be $200. It's like, well, fuck, should it be $200? Should it not be $200? Right? And it just kind of gets a little bit different. So set goals. As an artist, you'll need to have long-term, short-term goals. Your long-term goals may come naturally. Common long-term goal may involve developing a steady client base, quitting and a part-time job, earning enough money from art to pay the bills, and so on. Short-term goals will help you reach your long-term goals. And the goal setting is not even just, you know, particular to this could be for anything in life, honestly. Work, school, family, health, name it. I think having a goal, like where you like to go and head towards, is a really healthy thing for you to do for yourself. So short-term goals must have deadlines. They must be specific. Your short-term goals may involve increasing your number of industry contacts, marketing your website, finding a web designer to make a website, boosting your portfolio, and so on. Establishing your goals will prevent you from wasting time or wandering off course. As you work on your goals, reevaluate your progress on a regular basis and make adjustments as needed. So another part that's really important here about adding dates, right, when to end something or when you want to achieve something, is it's somehow not as helpful to have the it'll be done when it's done attitude. Even though it allows you to finish maybe things at your own pace and all that, you might end up spending way too much time on something that you maybe could have finished earlier if you could have put that deadline on yourself, right? I've definitely heard the expression that it's better to have something done than have it be perfect. And I think that's really important. Once you can finish something and move on to the next piece, I think it helps out a lot. So in this case, it's like, you know, go for your goal, try to achieve it, try to finish it, and then move on to the next thing is really important. And if you find that, you know, you're always running out of time or you're over time, then you can adjust the time lapses there, right? When is it that you finish your startup project? So create a budget. Budgeting is an important part of managing a business. Many artists struggle to answer questions like, am I making a profit? Am I charging enough to my clients? Are my pieces appropriately competitive? And how can I make more money over time? So budgeting can help you answer these questions. Tracking the money you're bringing in and comparing that to the money that you spend on materials, bills, studio space, and so on can help you determine how much money you're making in profit and whether or not you are charging an appropriate amount of your time to learn how to budget, try taking an accounting class and purchasing accounting software. If you still feel lost, consult with an accounting professional. And so basically, this is to make sure that whatever you're doing is sustainable for you, right? And then you can continue to do it, to continue to be your own boss, right? So be reliable. Many artists struggle to maintain open lines of communication with clients. Answering emails, sending updates about your progress, sticking to deadlines, and giving advance notices about changes in schedule or direction is an important part of keeping good clients. Whenever possible and appropriate, talk to your customer on the phone or in person. This will help you develop a good relationship with your clients and will contribute to ensuring that your clients will like to continue working with you. Budget your time as well as your money. Wasting time either by working too hard or too long on a single project, or not dedicating enough time to the production of art can be devastating for your career. Budgeting your time wisely is essential for staying productive and making progress. And I know that for a lot of us, probably it doesn't feel so great to, like, I don't know, like you don't spend enough time drawing, right? So then you get guilty and you're like, oh my God, I should be drawing. And then you feel bad. It's like, you know what? Always try to cut out time for the things that are important to you, right? Not only art, but, like, again, physical fitness, mental fitness, like all those different things. Like, cut out the time. And I think this thing, like, does a really good job at just kind of like repeating the same beats over and over, right? Reevaluate regularly. One of the things that you need to ask yourself on a regular basis is this working? This is a complicated question that can have many meanings. Do you feel successful in your endeavors? Do you have enough contacts? Are you selling enough work? Are you busy enough with paid work? Do you feel good about the work you're doing? Are you enjoying yourself? Reevaluating your situation on a regular basis will help you decide whether or not you're on the right track. Remember that all artists feel lost from time to time, but this feeling should be broken up by small successes, sense of productivity, and so on. Step back from what you're doing on a regular basis to ask yourself if what you're doing is working. If you decide it's not, this could lead to a dramatic change of small adjustments that result in greater success. And I think this is kind of like, this part was for me, right? If you don't feel like something's right, take a step back, look at what you're doing, and see where is it that you should kind of spend your time or shift things to, right? So study with a mentor. Mentors are an invaluable resource for artists. A good mentor is experienced, confident in his or her abilities, and far along in his career. Some mentors start off as tutors, and others just good-hearted friends. As a good mentor will offer constructive criticism, helpful advice, and a listening ear. You can ask your mentor about your technique and style, but ideally, your mentor's greatest contribution to your career will be advice about going into business as an artist, setting rates, handling clients, managing finances, and other aspects of being an artist can be challenging for beginning artists. Your mentor will be a person who has been down this road in the past, who have learned from good old mistakes. Learning from your mentor will give you a leg up as well as you find your way as an artist. So, closing statement here is, good luck. Nothing can prepare a person for his significant challenges and rewards that await them in their art career. As an artist, you will grow as a person and touch the lives of others. Creating beautiful works makes the world a more beautiful and enjoyable place. Still, a career in art is not easy. You may take years to find your way and bring in steady, reliable income. Hard work and dedication is required. With determination, tenacity, and smart decision making, you can have a successful career as an artist. So I hope you guys like this. I really enjoyed it. I'm gonna save this, and then I'm gonna go ahead and I'll save that so I can add it later to the Discord. I know it was a long one. Holy shit, I was reading that for a long time. But that was, you know, it kind of goes back to all the same points. I really like that it just kind of like detailed everything that I could possibly be thinking about. As far as like having an art career and how long it takes, really, you know, finding your voice, finding your style, having a mentor, adjusting, readjusting. And so, you know, it's every once in a while you kind of have to look into stuff like this to kind of refresh your spirit, right? Like, you don't know what direction you can go in. I don't know if I should sell this or should you do that, more pieces of this, more pieces of that, less of this, less of that. So many questions, and art is such a broad area. It's like, really, for me, it's not even like walking in a jungle. It's a lot more like walking in a desert. It's like I'm following the stars, right? And then I'm hallucinating halfway through the day because of the heat, and having conversations with like fucking spirits that aren't really there, just like imaginary projections. And that honestly, that's what like art feels to me. Like, you just don't know where you're going and how you're gonna get there, but you know that you're like, there's a promised land, right? So you were watching Proco, and the phrases "find your art parents" was introduced, thought as a neat idea. You know what? And I briefly talked about that not that long ago. I saw that too. That was Draftsman, and that was one of their early podcasts. So find your art parents, basically finding the two styles that you like, and then just kind of like learning some of those techniques that they grabbed, or they did, right, and then kind of mesh it in with your own. So yeah, that was a really, really interesting like concept. I really liked it. I just haven't really found my parents. Like, I'm somewhat of an art orphan that just imitated a lot of anime back in the day, and then I kind of like lingered in some like spaces. I was in an art gutter by myself, like just drawing things that just didn't totally make sense. So, but you know, this is just a journey. I mean, I'm pretty sure that in a year, my art's going to look way cleaner, but it's also going to look like very different. Right. So, all right, let's get to work on this. This has been waiting for like a long time.